All right, so this is Andrew Studer's website. I'm going to briefly talk about him, and all I would say is that I really like what I see on the website. He introduces a page about stills, but also motion, which I feel is a kind of a cutting edge way of looking at it. If you bring a DSLR out there, you can do little clips of visuals as well as stills, and there's things that you can capture in a short video that you just cannot capture in a still. So that's his video site. But going on to the stills, this is what really caught my eye. And I'm a big I love nature and landscape photography, and this is kind of his bread and butter. If you look at just some of the categories, and he's traveled, he also works for different companies doing corporate photography, and nature tends to be a common voice. It's his voice, and he even says it on the website. It's a beautiful world. Capture it, I think is what it says. We live in a beautiful world. I capture it. And so again, that's kind of his overarching message, is to capture the beauty of the world, the visual beauty through photography. And I like that. I like that voice, and you see it in every bit of his work. He likes working with natural light and shadows. He does people. He's very colorful. But I really want to focus on nature as the collection. And those are where I will talk specifically about some of the principles and elements of design that he exhibits through his nature photography work. So when I looked at just these and saw them all grouped together, the first word that came to mind, and I'm sure you could use others, but this one's value. Everything in there is kind of on the high key scale. And yes, there's line. I'll talk about line later because there's another group of photos that use line. This is more of a cragged line, but it's the value. And when you go out into the snow and you see the different shades of white and gray with a little bit of mixed in darker tones, that use of value, or that ability to see the value, is I think what makes a lot of these photos stand out when you see snow and ice, especially this one, which I just think is fantastic. So when I look at those, I kind of group that together. Then you see also, with the use of value also comes the revelation of texture. And this image right here just kind of strikes out at me. You can almost feel the wave or feel the droplets. And again, texture can be seen in other images of value, but again, I feel like this is one of the photographer's strengths, at least when they're covering these subjects. Another one that I like that I see is movement. And again, movement in photography can be a little bit different. It's a sense of movement inherent in the still. So the movement of the horse is implied, just like texture can be implied. The movement of the water is implied by the longer exposure that shows kind of the milky water fall. There's a good image that shows movement, the movement of the wolf. There's movement in a more traditional sense where I will move from the mama bear to the smaller bear. So if you're using some of the artistic versions of movement that don't really apply to photography, that's there. So I see a lot of movement in that in his work, as well as line. Lines are everywhere, and he's using them. The lines here of the sun, the line of the waterfall, the line of the trees, and the juxtaposed or contrasted to the line of the curved line of the road. There's two good elements of lines where two waterfalls come together. This would be more pattern, repetition, texture. But I also saw a lot of work with line with this road as well. And then when you scroll down to some of his more desert scenes, you see the use of line here and just the curves of the landscape and the texture. And again here. So, in all of these things, there's a lot of line. I would say color's important in his work, especially, and this is one of the reasons why I like him. He's using natural light to reveal the vivid colors of nature. It's off when I hover my digital finger over it. But I think overall, it's a sense of harmony. It's a sense that he has a really good sense of the landscape and the places that he's in, and is able to capture elements that go together. And that creates a harmony. And nature photography is one of those areas that lends itself to harmony, because all of these elements make up a whole, and each part is an important part of the whole. And he has a good sense of how these things go together. And you can see that in almost every single image, the harmony of all of the images and objects and things that he selects to frame in the shot. And so that is how I would do that. And that's it.